Peace, love, and light, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please do subscribe, comment below. Of course, tap the bell for all to be notified whenever I'm coming out with new readings for the collective. This is a pick a pal reading for the collective, so only take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Some strong energies channeled in here. And as always, for my regulars, you know I like to center you guys before you choose your pal. Some of you may already have an inkling, but still. So you're going to inhale for the count of 5. You're going to hold it for the count of 5 and release it slowly for the count of 5. Now you can start that time now and pause the video as you do so. But for those of you who are ready, I'm going to jump right into pile 1 and then work my way to pile 2. I've already charged this reading with my soul sister Tina's yin and yang wand. So we have a balance here of the divine feminine, divine masculine energies. And without further ado, let's get into pile 1. All right, pile 1, let's start off with you. Let's kick this off. We have, from your counterpart, giving up and leaving just seems so much easier than to just deal with the pain anymore. Now, this feels like, for some of you, it's a mixture of a past thought. Those of you that chose this pile, you might be in separation with your person, or you were at some point. This feels like something they were going through at the time you were separating, or something that they could currently also be thinking. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It's because there's something about a trauma that they dealt with before knowing you. It could be childhood trauma. It could be maybe from another relationship. You might know of it, depending on how close you were with your person, how much they've told you over the years or over the last couple of months of knowing each other. But there's something that took place to where they don't handle confrontation very well, or they're very confrontational. So whenever there's an issue, no matter how small it is, they're kind of quick to escalate the issue. It's not that they want to, it's like they're trained to. It's a default. It's how they shield themselves. It's how they protect themselves. I feel like a lot of you are dealing with a person who might believe, oh, you ever heard the term, if you don't fight with me, you don't love me? Some of you might also agree with this term. The problem is that term is absolutely backwards. It's absolutely wrong. You see, I can fight for you. I can fight with you in the context that I'm right by your side. I'm the person who will protect you, or you'll protect me. There's an understanding that if the world's coming at you, that I'm the first line of defense, or you're my first line of defense. But to fight with each other, think about conflict going on around you. There's bombs dropping everywhere, and you're sitting here screaming at each other instead of trying to help each other and save each other. You're throwing bullets at each other with your words, with your thoughts, and you think, because you've been trained to, that that's love. That's how this person is. They've been trained to believe that confrontation, it's natural love. Now, that's not to say you're not going to go through challenges, maybe sometimes get on each other's nerves, bicker, whatever the case may be, have to iron it out. But the point is to iron it out. You should never feel like during an argument that a person just couldn't stand the ground you walk on. But that's what you've been taught over the last couple of centuries. Actually, you can track this back. It hasn't always been a thing, but over the last couple of centuries, it kept gaining momentum and gaining momentum. And within the last couple of decades, it's a huge thought process that you must fight with a person in order to, and I don't necessarily mean physical, though for some of you that could be a trigger because maybe sometimes it led to that. But you've been led to believe that arguments that can really hurt a person means you love a person. And that's not how love operates. That's just not what it is. Now, challenges, sure. Disagreements, sure. Sometimes being so irritated with each other, you may sometimes say what you don't mean. But a person should never at any point in time feel like you just have no value in them. Now, I'm not saying your person necessarily does this, at least not for all of you, but it's been done to them. And so their mind is programmed to believe that if you don't go back and forth with them in an argument, like when you throw your hands up and go, you know what, I'm not arguing with you, I don't have time for this. They take that like, oh, you don't love me because you're not going back and forth with me, because you're not trying to fight for this. There's a difference between fighting for a relationship and just fighting with each other, just hurting each other for no reason. Okay, let's get into the next message. Look at that. My past of how I was raised affects how I act now in life. So it goes back to what I'm saying. Some type of trauma took place with some of your counterparts within this group, divine masculine or divine feminine. Something took place. Could have been with growing up, but for some I'm also feeling like it was past relationships, or maybe what they were taught about past relationships. They might have had parents that were always in a state of conflict, always arguing with each other. And so now they think that's what a relationship is. A relationship is you call them names, they call you names. When something gets hard and they can't handle it, I feel like some of you have people that withdraw. They just kind of pull back, go within a shell. And when you try to talk, they take it like you're invading their space. So it's natural for them to just snap, to just be irritable and snappy. So your person is dealing with inner childhood traumas and inner relationship traumas they need to clear out, because they're kind of, not even kind of, they're dragging it into this relationship. Could have been why you separated. Again, for some of you, this one here is it's past. So you might have come back into union with this person, but you find that while they may have worked on some things and changed, that's still an issue. They may not argue as much anymore, but they withdraw a lot because they don't want to be confrontational. At the same time, confrontation is what they identify with. I realize that I do want you in my life. Is it too late? So, for those of you who are in separation, this is the current thought on your person's mind. For some of you that are in a connection and they feel like you haven't fully accepted them in, it could be because they're withdrawing. It could just be that, yeah, they've come back. They might be acting different, but you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're like, okay, sure, you're not acting like you did before, but how do I know it's not just that? How do I know it's not just an act, and that as soon as I get lovey-dovey, or as soon as I open the heart space and let you back in, all of a sudden we're back to ground zero? So they're wondering, is it too late to actually rekindle this? Is it too late to get you to trust them again, to get you to love them with all of yourself again? And honestly, for many of you, while you love hard, this is true, there's always been something that made you hold back. It wasn't just them, it was also something within you that made you hold back. Could be similar reasons. Could be you don't like confrontation, pain, and etc. Could be you felt some type of distance was popping up eventually. Whatever the reason may be, both of you had this issue. Both of you played this part with each other, just to different degrees and in different ways. So, to be honest, you've never truly allowed yourself to completely be in love with the person. You might have found yourself, and this could be triggering for you, but you need to hear it. You might have found yourself in love with the idea of them. You know who they can be, especially if this is a bond, if this is a, and for some of you it is, for some of you it isn't. That's just the reality here. But for those of you where this is a soulmate twin flame union, because of that vibe, because of that intense pull, you really do feel like you were meant to try to stick it out. At the same time, something instinctively or something from your own past didn't allow you to give in completely. And both of you might have felt that energetically, even if you couldn't explain what it was. So there was a lot of holding back and a lot of misunderstandings, miscommunication, trying to gather the courage up trying to gather up the courage to get in contact with you. So again, for those of you in separation where the person left because it's like, you know what, dealing with the pain was too much. I can argue with anyone else, but I can't argue with you. Every time I argue with you, it doesn't feel right. I feel like shit. I don't like feeling like shit, so I ran away. But now I'm realizing that my past and how I was raised, or in the people I with the people I dealt with in the past, affected how I respond to you, affected how my energy was with you. And now I'm realizing I need you or want you back. Is it too late for that? I'm trying to build up the courage to say all of this, or build up the courage to come and talk about all this. But at the end of the day, I keep finding myself at square one and two. I don't know what to do with that. So some of them are waiting for some type of sign from you. They might have been sending you energetic vibration. So they might be waiting for you to make a certain post. You know, people still love talking subliminal in today's age with technology. So if they follow you, if you have a public profile, or if they follow you and you guys never delete each other, even if your profile's private, they're kind of waiting for you to post something that maybe only the two of you would know. Some type of sign. For others, where you've already made the attempt to come back into union, is gathering up the courage to confess all of this to you, to tell you where their traumas are, to tell you where their issues come from. But honestly, the ones who feel that way, they kind of feel like you're not going to care. Like a part of you's just going to go, Well, I'm not that person, or I'm not your mama, I'm not your dad, I didn't do these things to you, why are you putting that shit on me? Like they feel like they're going to be met with confrontation because in a way during this relationship, whether it was you that was like that or them, y'all both got used to arguing. That's the energy here. Let's get into the love tea. Need a break. That was what happened in this area right here. You needed a break from the drama. They took that as this person's leaving me. This is for some, not for all. So it was like, instead of dealing with the pain of that and being honest and saying, hey, I don't want this over. Yeah, we might need a break, but can we come back? Can we heal after this? Instead of going through all that, they just was like, giving up just seemed easier at the time. For some of you, this was your energy. Giving up seemed easier because you got tired of all of the back and forth. You needed a break. Some of you might have had the bad habit of smoking and you found yourself smoking again because you were so dang stressed over everything. Take what resonates for you and your person. Some of you are on that break right now. You're in separation right now because you needed it. You needed to get your energy straight. You needed to get yourself back on track. As much as you may have loved that person, whether it's have love for them, be in love with them, whatever it was, you realized it was detrimental to your health, to your mental state, and you had to pull back. And for some of you, it was your counterpart that felt that way. They realized that what they were doing was a problem, or what you may have been doing to them. Just what you see lay here, this could be your counterpart explaining what you were doing. Take what resonates. Be honest about what resonates here. But whatever it was, healing needed to take place, and a forced break had to happen. Somebody had to pull the plug. Maybe both of you agreed to pull the plug. And now, with this reminiscent feeling coming back, you're looking for union again, or at least answers as to what happened. What was I saying about fights? If I fight with you, it's because I still care. Worry when I don't. You see what I'm saying? Some of them felt like fighting with you, like going back and forth with you. And let me explain, because there's two types of this that are channeling in here, and I want you guys to be able to differentiate from the two. On one hand, it's like if a person's arguing with you and you keep trying to push your point, or if you're arguing with them and they keep trying to push their point, like, I need you to understand why I'm upset. I need you to understand what went wrong, what you did wrong, what I did wrong, blah, 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 blah. That's one version. That comes from a person that really, they do care and they want to be understood by you. And they're getting really mad and frustrated that it feels like you don't understand them. So they're fighting with you, but it's not fighting with you in the sense of like, I want to beat you down with my words. It's fighting with you in the sense that I'm trying to get you to care about what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you to care about my feelings here, because I'm feeling like you don't give a shit about them. You might have felt this way. You might have both felt this way about each other. That's one version. While that makes sense, the reality is nobody hears anybody over the yelling and the screaming. Nobody, and eventually somebody gonna say something they don't mean, or say something they might have meant in the moment and they can't take it back. It's just that simple. Then there's the toxic one I was referring to earlier. That one can get toxic. But the other one earlier, it's like literally wanting to hurt the person, feeling so offended by what's going on, feeling so trapped or so stuck in what's going on that you feel this need to be confrontational. You feel this need, or they felt this need, to just say harsh things. It doesn't matter they didn't mean them in the moment. In the moment, even though they may have not meant the core of what they're saying, they did want to like sting you. They did want to hurt you. So the reason that this was going on is because, again, on one hand, you have a group here, that's what they were raised to believe was love, that confrontation is love, that if a person's not confrontational with you, they don't love you. Even though people who hate each other can be confrontational every day, again, that might have been their parents' relationship or whoever raised them, because I'm picking up that at least some of the divine masculines may have not been raised by their parents. They might have been raised by a grandparent, foster home, something like that. So this is what they know. For others, it was being caught up in the moment and wanting you to understand their point, or vice versa. Wanting the person to get where the other person is coming from and feeling really frustrated that the person didn't. So it's like the moment I'm no longer feeling the need to get my point across, the moment I no longer care enough for you to value my feeling, this is when you should be concerned. That was the temperature. Could have been your temperature, could have been their temperature. Take what resonates. The solution here is really taking time in a calm setting without confrontation to lay everything out, to lay out the feelings. Whether for some of you, you're closing a book, because again, I'm honest with y'all, I'm picking up some that are in twin flame unions. soulmate unions, and I'm picking up some where no, you might have had intense feelings for this person, but this could have actually been some sort of karmatic or soul tie. There was a lesson that needed to be learned here because both of you might have had traumas that both of you brought to the surface. Now, the same thing can happen in those other connections. Use your discernment because this isn't a personal reading, okay? But this needs to be cleansed out. If you can't get in contact with this person, if this person can't get in contact with you, then energetically, you need to do a complete soul cleanse and a complete mental cleanse of the situation. You need to admit where your wrongs were. You need to admit where their wrongs were. And that at the end of the day, you're choosing to let it go. Let it go. For those of you who are in the type of ties where you're trying to come into union, and it is some type of sacred union, you're going to have to be empathetic to their past, but you can't allow it to be the excuse. You can hear them out. You can let them know it's a safe space to hear them out, but really hear them out. Don't let them start talking and you're like, but that's not an excuse to look at. Save that and be mindful of your words. Hear what they have to say, really pay attention, and start to play back in your mind where could I have seen signs of that? To know whether they're bullshitting you or not. Where could I have seen signs of, yes, they must have been in a toxic relationship or upbringing? Again, some of you already know your person's upbringing. You know they went through this. So just use your discernment to know whether or not they're being honest or they're making an excuse. Because if you use your opinion is based on past pain, your opinion is based on past experience, and it may not be their current vibration and their current feeling. This is about really tapping into your intuition and being wise, okay? And most importantly, don't be afraid to say your part. It's not about making them feel like crap for what happened. But if you're not honest about how they made you feel, if you're not honestly sitting down in a calm setting and confronting this correctly, it's going to keep coming up. And both of you are going to have a lack of trust for each other. So for those of you that are in a soulmate or twin flame union with this person coming back together, or they want to come back to you, that's the conversation that needs to be had. In a setting where you're not, neither one of you, there's an understanding, there's an agreement beforehand. We will not argue. We are not going to scream at each other. We're not going to just walk away. We're going to pick a time frame. This may have to be a conversation that happens over a course of time. Maybe we talk on Monday, we take a break on Tuesday, resume, but we have to flush all of this out in order to have a complete clean slate. And I'm going to say this now for many of the divine feminists and the few divine masculines that are also channeling in here watching. Once you clear the slate, once you have talked about everything, it's all on the table, you both agree to forgive and, yes, to an extent forget, you remember the lesson, but you don't hold on to the trauma. You're letting the trauma go. Do not, I repeat, do not bring it up whenever you feel like they're about to do something that irritates you. Because when you hold on to trauma, a person can do the slight, it don't even have to be related to what they did before. It's just a slight annoyance, like coming home late from work or something, and somehow that turns into the argument that took place where y'all were going screaming at each other at the top of your lungs. Don't do that. That's you living in the past. That's you not properly allowing the relationship to flow. So be mindful of this, okay? And that's your guidance. That's what's channeling in here for the group that chose these cards. I hope that resonates with you and it gave you some clarity and guidance. Blessings, group Pal 1. All right, Pal 2, welcome to your reading. Let's hop right on into it. What does your person counterpart have to say to you, divine masculine or feminine? We have, I miss looking into your eyes. So safe to say, those of you in this group, whether it's recently or it's been a while, take what resonates, you're in separation. And this right here might be something your person did with you a lot. They might have looked into your eyes a lot, or maybe they looked into your eyes whenever they said they love you or during intimate activities. Again, take what resonates. I feel like for those of you, whether you've been separated for a while or recently, you've been feeling their energy. Some of you might have went a while without feeling their energy. Actually, some of you, like let's say you separated or broke up a few months ago. And after some time, you really didn't think about them, weren't really feeling their presence so much. You were kind of just like living your best life. And then all of a sudden, within the last couple of days or weeks, you've started to feel just their presence or reminiscing on them. So this is why, because they're thinking of you and they miss you. So I feel like for some of you, you know who you are, that line. Something about that stands out for you personally. But do remember this is a general reading and not personal, so take what resonates. We have, I often see your face in my mind. You see what I'm saying? They're focused on you. They're honed in on a certain image of you, of a certain time period and vibration and emotion with you. And so they're having a hard time getting you out of their head altogether. They could be dreaming about you, so it might be affecting your dreams. Again, you might feel their presence. Sometimes you might be sitting in maybe a place that you guys went on dates at, or you're in your room. Anything they used to do around the house or around your area, you just sense them around, even though you may have not seen them doing those things in months. I need to make sense of this connection. So you're pretty much dealing with a person that could be, I don't want to say fully skeptical. Some are, but it's more so they know that there's a connection here. They may not think it's as deep as you know it is, but now they can't explain what they're feeling, especially with the whole missing looking into your eyes and seeing your face over and over in their mind. They realize, okay, this isn't a normal connection. I haven't felt this way about anyone else prior to this person. And some of you are dealing with people that not that all of them were promiscuous or anything, but they've dated a lot. They've had some experiences, and now they're in this connection that they can't explain. It's not just sexual, it's not just an intellectual thing. It just goes so much deeper and they can't put a word on it. You could be dealing with the person, you might be very spiritual, they may not be. Or if they're spiritual, they've never dived completely in. They're always like one toe in, one foot out, one toe in with the other toe above water. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they're just never fully immersed in it. And now they find themselves curious. Now they find themselves seeking guidance. They could be watching this reading right now going, oh, good God. Is this really happening right now? Yeah, it's happening, my friend. But yes, they're trying to make sense of this connection. So if you've been sending them signs, if you've been telling them things, whether they've acted like you were crazy at one point or whether now they find themselves listening but still going, I just don't understand it though. Like, how is it possible though? Like, I get what you're saying, but then I don't. That's the vibration they're carrying here. I want to make things right. They do want to make things right because, again, while they still are trying to make sense of this, they know it's real. It's like, I know this connection is real, even though I'm not used to it and it kind of makes no sense to me. I know it's real. How do I make this right? So again, you guys are in separation. Could be recently, could have been a couple of months now, maybe even a few years for some of you. But again, their energy just started coming around. If they haven't contacted you yet, they probably will. If you haven't contacted them yet, you probably will. Somebody's going to feel moved to make a move. This is a timeless reading. So whenever you see this, that's the divine timing of it all. However long it may be before or after that, I don't normally like diving too deep into that, but just know that's the vibration of right now. Let's get into the love tea. Seeking guidance. Here you are seeking guidance, but they're also seeking guidance. Your person might be watching this right now. They could also be watching oracle or tarot readings or channelers, different things like that, trying to get an idea of what's happening. And actually, I'm channeling a few names. Now, this is interesting because I feel like some of these names may be related also to the reading before. However, the names didn't come out then, but I'm hearing Jesse, Joy, Samson, Samuel. Yeah, I'm hearing Samson and Samuel. That's not going to be for everybody, but for whoever that's for, you know your person. It could be that those names are theirs. Maybe it's yours. Maybe it's a relative or a friend that you both know. It's some type of sign for you. But for some of you, I'm feeling like Jesse and Samson are the names of your people. It could be their last name, first name. Take what resonates. But both of you are seeking guidance. You're seeking guidance on why you're feeling their presence or what's going on, and they're seeking guidance on what's going on. They're trying to realize that this connection is spiritual. Look at that love story. A love story never ends. Let's start a new chapter. So they want to start a complete new chapter. They want to forget everything that happened before. Can we just erase it? It's the past. It no longer exists. Can it not affect us anymore? And can we just start this love story over? Can we just start from a new chapter, a new beginning, and progress forward? And they're seeking guidance on how to do that. You might also be here seeking guidance on how to do that. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Once again, I'm feeling like this is another group where some of you might need to still take this break to do your own inner healing. Because if you try to come back into union with this person and you're carrying resentment or you're carrying some type of toxic belief about the relationship, it's going to be detrimental to the relationship. It'll almost be like there was no point in you making the attempt. I do feel a mixture. Oh, I got water on my cards. I do feel a mixture between twin flame and soulmates here. The other group, some of them felt like they might just be soul ties or karmatic ties. But in this group, I'm not really picking up karmatic ties. So you are dealing with some type of life partner here. Could be a blend of both. Whatever the case may be, some of you need to work on your inner healing before you try to really talk to this person. And if you're going to talk to this person, you can't be judgmental. You can't be trying to have up walls and all this other stuff. It's going to be a problem. It's just going to make the matter worse and harder to deal with. But the person needs to do the same. They got healing they also need to do. They have some things that they need to admit and confront. They have some things they have to confess and get off their chest as well about how they've been feeling. And they can't keep making excuses about it. They can't keep saying, well, I don't know nothing about this stuff. It doesn't matter. Be honest about their feelings and come and be correct. And that might be what you have to say to them is, look, I'm willing to hear you out, but I already told you what I'm not tolerating. So I'll hear you out. We can erase the past. However, we can only do that if you're not going to repeat it in our present and future. That is the only way to truly move forward. A new chapter is exactly that, a new chapter. You don't get to try to write in what you did before in the script. That's not how this works. It shouldn't even feel like a script. I shouldn't feel like we're on a rerun. And they may have to say the same thing to you, because for some of you, this could be how you feel about your person, and they're channeling and picking you up. Take what resonates, my love. That was your guidance. May that give you clarity. Blessings to your union.